Hi guys, and welcome back to another video game with the powers. I'm Jake, and in today's video, I am bringing you another episode in our Learn and Play series featuring the board game Bloomchasers, a delightfully 3D game of flowers and wits. Now, Bloomchasers is a board game for 1 to 6 players, ages 12 plus, right around 30 to 60 minutes per playthrough. This is coming to you for the team over at Very Special Games, and this one is designed by Tavey or Tavey Lean, and I do apologize if I mispronounce your name incorrectly. If you guys are not familiar with our Learn and Play video series, essentially guys, this is a how to play slash playthrough. Normally what we've done in the past is we split the game into 2 distinct parts, like a how to play and then a playthrough. Moving forward guys, we want to provide a more streamlined and efficient video and watching process, so we're going to combine those both into one singular concept. So basically what this is going to be is it's going to be a playthrough of the game, but the first turn or round of the game, I'm going to go in depth in how to play, the different action options you have available to you, and whatnot. All right, guys, enough chitter chatter from me. Let's go ahead and jump down to the table where we can learn and play Bloomchasers together. All right, guys, so we're down here at the table where we have everything set up for our playthrough of Bloomchasers. Now, before I continue with this video, guys, I do want to note that this is the Kickstarter Deluxe Edition of the game. So there might be some components or cards that you see in today's video that is not present in the standard or retail edition of the game. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and talk Bloomchasers. What is the overall objective of the game? So you're going to be competing with the other players around the table, building this communal tree together, but your ultimate goal is to place the most flowers, okay, of your player color onto this tree in order to score the most victory points. And the way you're going to be able to place these flowers is you're going to have buds. You're going to place these buds out on your turn by selecting some of these weather cards here, and then eventually a bloom card is going to come out, which is going to allow you to blossom your flowers from the buds that you have put onto this tree. And the way the game is going to end, guys, there's going to be a bag of branch cards right here. Once this bag is completely empty and the final player takes the last turn, we will have one final bloom event. So people are going to flip over cards from the deck until that bloom happens, and then the end of the game will be triggered. Alrighty guys, let's go ahead and talk setup of the game very quickly before we dive into this playthrough. Setup is very easy. You're gonna go ahead and get this tree out, set this out in the middle of the table. You're gonna go ahead and get your bag and fill this bag full of branches and give this a nice little shuffle. You are gonna create this weather deck, all right? So there's gonna be a deck of cards that are gonna have different weathers, so wind, sun, and rain, as well as some bloom cards, okay? And what they recommend is you take this deck of cards, draw 3 random cards from this deck, set them aside. For your first playthrough, it recommends having 1 wind, 1 sun, and 1 rain, because these cards will affect endgame scoring at the end. So they recommend for your first game to have a balanced game, kind of have 1 of each, but in future games, you are more than welcome to just have 3 random. So you take 3 random, put them over to the side. So we'll say 3 random, put them over to the side. And then you're going to take 6 more cards from this deck of cards randomly as well. And then you will shuffle in the 2 bloom cards amongst this 6 and 3 that you have created here, and that will be your weather deck for the game. So let me go ahead, I've done that already, so let me go ahead and give this a nice little shuffle here, and we'll go ahead and drop this weather deck down. Okay, next, everybody's gonna take their components in their player color. So you're going to have buds. Each player's gonna have 40 buds in your player color, and then you are gonna have some flowers. Now, there are 3 types of flowers in the game. As I mentioned, you are going to have sunflowers, okay, which are gonna be in a triangle pattern. You are going to have rain flowers, all right, in a vertical pattern or straight line. And then you are going to have a wind flower, all right, which is going to be a 2-tiered flower. So it's going to be a need to be placed on 2 different layers. And what's going to happen is throughout the course of the game, you will have these buds out here. And when you have 3 buds that match a pattern of a flower, you will be able to slot that flower in there just like that in order to make it blossom. Now, when it comes to the bloom cards, guys, you can either use 3 of your own or 2 of your own and 1 of your opponent. plants, all right? So that is kind of how these flowers are gonna be blooming throughout the course of the game. Okay, the very last thing when it comes to setup, we're gonna need to initially start by building this tree. And so what each player is going to do is draw one random branch from the bag, place it onto the tree, and then they will place one of their buds onto the branch that they just placed. Once you guys have done all of those steps, you are now ready to start the game. So let's go ahead and talk about what you are gonna do on your turn. There are 3 steps that you are going to follow on your turn. Step number 1, you are going to draw and reveal a new weather card so that there are 3 weather cards in a area or like a row that you can select from. Since this is the first turn of the game, you will go ahead and draw so that 3 are out there already, and that is perfect. Look at that. We already have 3 of the different cards out there. That is phenomenal. So in a standard turn, you are going to select one of these cards at the end of your turn, and so it would need to be replaced. So this first step is that draw step where you are drawing a new weather card so that 3 are out. Okay, the second thing that you are doing on your turn is you are going to draw a random branch from the bag and place that branch out onto the tree. So you can either place it in one of the open trunks or you can place it in an open leaf, all right? You cannot place it in a open bud of yours or an open bud of your opponent. So let's go ahead and get the game going. Player number 1 is going to be our white player. Player number 2 is going to be our pink player. So the white player is the first player here. So let's go ahead and give this a nice mix, and he will draw a new branch, and he can place this branch anywhere that he would like. And we'll go ahead and slot that branch in there right there. Okay. So that is the second step of your turn, drawing and placing a branch. The third step of your turn and final step is you are going to be growing buds. So you're going to choose one of the 3 face-up weather cards, and you are going to follow the instructions on that particular card. So let's go ahead and choose this sun card right here. So this says place a bud on the branch that you placed this turn. So this is the branch that we placed this turn, and so we are eligible to place a bud on here, and we will go ahead and drop a bud down right there. And then at the bottom of the card, it says repeat for each sunflower you have grown. So if this player had any sunflowers on this tree, they would get to repeat this effect here of placing a bud on a branch they placed this turn until they are not able to place any more buds, okay? And then you will take this card, and this will go at the bottom of the deck here, and then play will pass to the next player. So again, the very first thing you do on your turn is draw and reveal a new weather card. And then the pink player will now go ahead and draw a branch from the bag and place it out there. And let's see, let's go ahead and put this one. Let's place this one right there. And then they are going to choose what they want to do. Let's go with the rain. They're going to select the rain. So place a bud touching one of your pre-existing buds, and they are going to place this one right here. Okay? This card will go back to the bottom of the deck, and then play is going to pass to the next person. So you're just now going to take turns back and forth doing this until bloom cards come out, and then we will start blooming flowers, and I'll talk about that in a sec when that happens. And then again, once this bag is over, or once this bag is empty, then that will trigger the end of the game. So moving on to the white player right here, we have a wind card that has come out. And we get a new branch, and let's see about putting this branch that direction. So place a bud on the branch you just placed this turn, or place a bud touching a bud of a different color. Ooh, I wonder if we do the wind. Let's go ahead and do the wind. And ooh, that's dangerous though. Actually, this white player does not want to do that, because remember, when you can bloom, you can use 2 of your own and 1 of your opponent. So if the white player put a bud here, if a bloom card came out, this pink player could still claim their own flower using one of their opponent's bud. We're going to place a bud on the branch you place this turn, which is this branch right there, and drop that bud down. This will now go back to the bottom of the deck. Okay, moving on to the pink player. We have 3 win cards that have come out. Let's see. This guy wants to do... we'll go ahead and drop this in there just like this. And we got to take a wind. So bud has to be touching a bud of a different color. And let's do that bud right there. So it's touching. They're basically adjacent. Alrighty. And drop that at the bottom of the deck and move on to the white player now. So we're gonna go ahead and draw, and we have drawn a bloom card, all right? So when a bloom card comes out, we are going to stop play, and it says, starting with the current player, each player may place a flower. Continue until no players can or wants to place additional flowers. Players who did not place a flower may place 1 bud anywhere. So in this particular circumstance, play is going to stop. So starting with the player that drew this card, which is going to be the white player actually is the one that drew this particular card. He has the first opportunity to go ahead and do a flower. Now remember, you need to have 3 buds in order to blossom a flower. And so there is no opportunity right now on the tree for the white player to blossom a flower. And so he would technically pass, and then we would go to the pink player here. And the same thing is true for the pink player. There's no opportunity for them to get a blossom a flower. So their pass in the bloom card is now done. So the players who are not able to place a flower may place a card of their, or a bud of their own anywhere they would like. So the white player is going to go there, and I think the pink player is going to go here in this particular spot. All right, then this bloom card is just going to be set over to the side. When the second bloom card comes out and finishes resolving, we will shuffle those cards back into the deck. So now play is going to resume with the starting player or the player who drew that bloom card. So we will take it back up to the first step in a turn, which is this draw step. Alrighty, and then we will need to place a new branch out. And ooh, we got, let's see if we did this, placing this one there. We like that. And we are gonna do the, let's do the sun, all right? Place a bud on a branch you placed this turn. Ooh, maybe we don't wanna do that because we wanna leave that open. So maybe we don't place that. Maybe we just drop this one here, and then we go ahead and play the sun card and drop it there because we did play on that bud. Okay, so that is the white player's turn. Moving on to the pink player, we'll draw a new win card. We will take a new tree, and let's see if we can. Oh no, it flipped. That's actually pretty cool. It flipped. Okay. So we will place that there, and then we must take a wind. So place a bud touching a bud of a different color. And I think we're gonna do this. Alrighty. So this will go back to the bottom of the deck, and we will move over to the white player's turn. We have a rain card, all right? Rain card. Man, these bloom cards are not coming out, guys. Hopefully we get some very, very soon. All right, we're placing a bud there. So place a bud touching a different bud, or placing a bud touching one of your existing. I will do place a bud touching one of our existing. And I think what we're gonna do is place a bud there, drop this at the bottom of the deck, and then we will move to the white player's turn, and we have our next bloom card. All right, now we're gonna be able to see some flowers come out. So the white player is the one that drew this card, so he will be able to activate first. So he is eligible to place a flower. He can place a sunflower because we have a triangle of 3 right here. So he will place his sunflower there right in between that set of buds, and he really could have used, well, no, because it's only 2 and 1. So now we'll go to the pink player. The pink player is going to take advantage of their opportunities. So they are going to use the white player's bud to try and stop him in his tracks. So they have 2 of their own, and then 1 of the white players to play a sunflower as well. So now we would go back to the white player. He cannot play any more flowers, so he is going to pass. The pink player can play another flower, and I think they could play a rainforest, but then it would kind of block that singular one. They could play another sunflower. So that's what I think they will do. They will maximize their sunflower abilities here and drop another sunflower down there in the tree. So then no player can play any more flowers. So both players played flowers, so they will not be able to place buds anywhere. We will take these two bloom cards and we will go ahead and shuffle them back in the deck. And now we will go ahead and resume play with the white player here because he was the one that initially drew our bloom card. All right, so he will draw a card and he has a sun. So he's gonna draw a branch and place this branch out somewhere that he might place that branch out right there, okay? And then he is going to grab this sun card. So place a bud on the branch we played this turn. So he will place a bud there. And then because he does have one sunflower out onto this tree right here, he is eligible to place another bud, right? So he can repeat for each sunflower that he has grown, and he will drop a bud on that one, okay? So that is the white player's turn. We will now go to the pink player, and we have a bloom. So the pink player has the bloom. He is not eligible to place any flowers at this particular time. The white player is. He has created a windflower, okay? And you guys might be able to see this here, but we have two right here, and then we have one on the bottom, if you guys can see that lifted up on my screen. But we have two, and we have one, so he can slide this windflower down in there just like that, and he has completed now a windflower. So the pink player was not able to place a flower, so he can place a bud anywhere that he would like, and he's gonna drop that bud right there. This will go to the side, and then his turn is gonna continue as normal. So he will be able to draw a card. He will draw a branch from the tree. Ooh, I think they're gonna go, do we go this way with this? Okay. And then they are going to, ooh, actually no, because if we're gonna place buds on, I think we do this, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and take the sun card. So place a bud on the branch you played this turn. So we are going to place a bud there. And then we're gonna repeat for each sunflower. So there are two sunflowers. So we will go ahead and cover all three spots of this branch. All right, so go ahead and drop that to the bottom of the deck, draw a new card, and we have a rain for the white player's turn. And let's see, the white player is gonna drop a, ooh, do we drop a flower there? And then place a bud touching one of your pre-existing buds or bud of a different color. And I don't know, we might go with the, well, we have the wind, but I don't have many buds out there right now that we could do. So let's go with the rain, and let's place a rain right there and then put that at the bottom of the deck. Okay, moving on to our pink player. So pink player draws a rain, draws a card from the deck, or draws a branch from the tree, and then place a bud touching a bud of a different color. We're gonna do rain, place a bud touching one of your pre-existing buds, and they are gonna drop this down there and take this back to the bottom of the deck. Okay, moving over to the white player now. We have the sun card. Let's get a new branch, and let's see where this branch wants to go. We'll drop this branch right there, and we're gonna take the sun card. So on the new branch, Alrighty, and then we have one sunflower, so we can go on the new branch again, and we're gonna go ahead and drop that there, and then put that at the bottom of the deck. Moving on to the pink player's turn, we have the bloom. So pink player was the one that activated the bloom. They are gonna be able to place 2 flowers. So the very first flower that they're gonna place is a rain flower right here. Okay, and then we move to the white player's turn. Are they eligible to place any flowers? They are not, because this pink player actually blocked them from doing so. So then back to the pink player, they are eligible to place another flower, which is another rain flower out here. And then the white player is not eligible to do that, so they will place a bud anywhere they would like. So let's go ahead and mix these 2 blooms back into the deck and give this a nice little shuffle here and move along. All right, pink player is continuing their turn. They got 3 wind. Oosh, that is not that good. Let's see, they're gonna add right here. Okay, and then right here. So they gotta place a bud, touching a bud of a different color. And they are going to put their bud right there. All right, and they have no wind flowers out, unfortunately. So moving to the white player, we get a new card. We get 3 wind out there. All right, let's get a new branch. And let's see about dropping a bud. Ooh, a tree there. Where do we want to go with this? We could go here, actually, and kind of mingle a little bit on what we got. So we got to do a wind. So place a bud touching a bud of a different color. So we can do that. And then placing a bud of a different color. We don't have any more options. Now, my understanding is in the rulebook, guys, if a flower is present, then it's no longer a bud, right? Because it's considered a flower. So the bud underneath is not considered a bud anymore. So there's no other options for the white player to take another bud action. Okay. Moving on to the pink player. So they will draw a new branch. And they're gonna put this branch over here, alrighty, and they're gonna wanna do the sun. So place a bud on a branch you place this turn. Ooh, do they wanna do that, or do they wanna do the wind? They might do the wind, and place their bud right there, okay? And put that back underneath. Okay, moving on to the white player now. We have another sun. We're gonna go ahead and drop this. Ooh, we're gonna go ahead and drop this one here. Alrighty, and we're gonna do the sun. So we will place a bud on a branch we just played this turn. All right, we have one more sunflower, so we'll place another bud on a branch we played this turn. And that is going to be the end of the white player's turn. So moving to the pink player now, let's go ahead and draw another bud. And let's go ahead and just drop this one. We'll drop this one all the way out here. And they're going to select the rain. So place a bud touching one of their pre-existing buds. So they will drop a bud here. They do have 2 rain flowers, so here and here, so they can place 2 more buds, and they'll go there and there. Okay, so they got a bunch of different options available to them the next time that they do it. So back to the white player's turn, and they're trying to get some type of space going on here. Let's see. They got a sunflower and a windflower. Different color. They might, one of our pre-existing buds, bud of a different color. Ooh, maybe that was not the smartest move there. Do we want to place one on a branch we have this turn? Ooh, let's place one on a branch that we've done this turn. And let's go here and here. All right, so that's 2, and that'll be the end of the turn. Go ahead and flip it over to the pink player, has a bloom. So pink player has a bloom. Can they bloom anything? So there is nothing right now that I see that will allow them to bloom, because they got to have 3. So 2 of their 2 and 1 does not 2 of the opponents and 1 of theirs does not count. So I do not see anything at this time. So play would pass to the white player. The white player does have 1 available option. Well, he really has 2. He can use either a sunflower or a rainflower, which he might use a rainflower and place that rainflower right there. We go back to the pink player, and they cannot place any flowers, so they're going to put a bud anywhere that they would like, and they're going to put a bud right there. Okay, so that is the bloom card. So the pink player is going to resume their turn. They back-to-back blooms. Wow. Okay, so pink player blooms again. Still cannot produce any flowers. The white player cannot produce any flowers. So pink player will go first, and they will put a bud down. The white player will put a bud down over here, and then we will shuffle both of these bloom cards back into the middle of the deck here. All right, so moving with the pink player's turn still. Draw a card. Let's place a branch here, and we're just going to place a branch right there. And they are going to want to take a rain. So place a bud next to one of your pre-existing buds. So bud there, and then they can do this twice, 2 more times, because they do have a rainforest card, but those are the only eligible spots that they're able to do that. All right, so that goes to the bottom of the deck. We go back to the white player's turn, and we're getting close, guys. We are getting close to the end here, and he's gonna do this. Oh, do we wanna do that? Or he's gonna actually put this over here, and he's going to use the sun. All right, so the sun, which is going to allow him to place something on a branch, he placed this turn. He does have 1 sunflower out, so he will place his next bud right there, and that is going to be the end of the turn. So moving to the pink player, we got 3 wind out here right now. And let's see, they are going to try and block him by going this way. We select the wind, place a bud, touching a bud of a different color, place that, and then they don't have any wind, any more wind, so that'll be the end. Moving to the white player, sun is coming out. He's going to place this, he wants to try and save that. He's going to place that there. Alrighty, and then he is going to take the sun, put this one on the branch, and then he can place another one. Oh no, he can place another one just like that, and that is the end of his turn. All right, back to the pink player. We have a bloom. Okay, so we got a bloom. The pink player is eligible to bloom right here. They're going to drop a rainforest blossom, a rainforest flower right there. The white player is eligible. He is going to drop another sunflower. Well, actually, he's going to drop a windflower over here first. Ooh, well, actually, he should probably do this first. So he should cover this first, okay? And then it goes back to the pink player. It does not look like the pink player can blossom any more flowers. So then the white player is now going to blossom this windflower right there. And that's going to be end of the bloom. And so both players have blossomed a flower, so they will not place a bud anywhere. We got the second back-to-back bloom. Does not look like any players can bloom anything at this moment, so they will be able to place wherever they would like. And I think this pink player is going to place there. The white player is going to place there, and then we shuffle these back in and proceed with the pink player, whose turn it is. All right, pink player, new card coming out, bloom. comes out. All right, nobody can blossom. So I got 3 blooms in a row, back to back to back. Well, actually the white player can. So the pink player is going to, man, he doesn't want to set the white player up. So he's just going to drop back there. The white player can. So he's going to drop a sunflower there. And that's going to be the end. So bloom is gone. Pink player's turn again. He gets a sun. Alrighty, so he will draw a branch. And we're going to put a branch out here. Or let's do it just like, how do we do it to where they can, there we go. All right, so we will do the sun. So place one on a branch you just claimed. Place one on another branch because he has, so that's the first sunflower. He's got one more sunflower. So he can place on all 3. And this goes to the bottom of the deck. And then we have a win card. I believe this is the final one. This is the final one in the bag. So let's see what we can do. And we will drop this here. Grab a win, place a bud, touching a bud of a different color. So we'll go there. And that looks to be the only other option that the white player has. Okay. So we have got rid of all the branches in the bag. So now what we're going to do is the final player has taken their turn. Well, actually, the pink is the final player. So the pink would go first. The pink would go next. So Rain, he cannot place any branches. So he will draw a card and select a bud. So touching a different bud, wind here. And then he's going to drop this pink down here. Alrighty, if I can get it. Sometimes it's like operation. It's close. There we go. All right, perfect. So then that would be the end. So now everybody has taken their final turn. We are going to start with the first player. The next player, so he's going to draw a card. If it's not a bloom, it goes to the next player. Okay. Back to the white, so we'd have our final bloom. So the white player is eligible for a bloom first, and I don't think he can bloom anything. All right, I don't think there's anything that he can bloom that I'm not seeing here. The pink player can. All right, they have done a windflower. All right. And that is it. So now what we are going to do is take a look at all of these cards now for final scoring, guys. And we are going to separate them out into their respective, take the blooms out. We're going to separate them out into the respective number of cards. And depending on how many cards there are is going to be the point value for those flowers, okay? So if there are 5 cards, those flowers are only going to be 1 point. 4 cards are 2 points. 3 cards are 3 points, and so forth and so on. So the wind, any wind flowers are going to be worth 2 points. So the pink has 1 windflower, and I believe that is it. The white player has 1 windflower. Do they have 2? I think the white player has 2 windflowers there. Okay. So then the next card, 3 suns, they're going to be worth 3 points. So that's 6 points for the white player. That would be 6 more points for the pink player. And then lastly, the rain cards are going to be worth 4 points. So the rain flowers are worth 4 points, and the pink player has 3 while the white player has 1. And I'm pretty sure, just based off math off the top of my head, the pink player would be the victor. But that is a full playthrough, guys, of a game of Bloomchasers from a 2-player perspective. Alrighty, guys. Well, look, I hope you enjoyed this learn and play video of Bloomchasers and got to see how this one plays. If you enjoyed this content, smash that like button, hit that notification bell, drop down in the comments below. What do you guys think? Do you think this is a game for your game group? I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. And last but not least, guys, if you are not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe so we can keep bringing you some more awesome content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.